Remins, welcome back to the channel for what could be a historic episode, because today we are doing our very first pre-match analysis video for tomorrow's game against Stuttgart, which is our very first Champions League game of the season. I am very excited for this game. I am very excited to get this Champions League season started. It is a new format, so it's going to be very interesting, but now that we have Mbappe in the team, I can't wait to see how we fare out. And we do have a lot to talk about: contract renewals, player injuries, and the long-awaited return of Jude Bellingham. Let's go. Alright, Remis, let's start with some club news. We got the contract renewal of Ferland Mendy until 2027. I think this is incredible news. I do think that Ferland Mendy is by far one of the most underrated Real Madrid players of the century. I mean, his performances last year were crucial. He was arguably the best defensive left back in the world, and a lot of people forget how crucial Mendy was in Real Madrid's 2022 Champions League win, because at the end of the day, he did clear one ball off the line against Man City in the semifinals. And Mendy is a good player. He just doesn't get enough praise because a lot of people think that he's not good enough technically moving forward, which I 100% disagree. I think Mendy is one of the most complete left backs in the world. And last year, there was a lot of rumors that Alphonso Davies was going to join the team, which, don't get me wrong, I'm still all for that signing. But keeping Mendy is important because his performances lately have been incredible. Last season, he was a crucial player for the team. And given his injury history, I do think it's a good thing to have Alphonso Davies in the squad. He is also a little bit injury prone, so these players can definitely complement each other very well. Now, I will say, Fran Garcia has been balling out this season. He deserves his praise. I do think that he's one of those players that flies under the radar because he's not really a big name. But he has been really solid this season. I am very happy from what I've seen from him, and I'm happy that he's in a team. I think he's good depth for Mendy. Next summer, depending on how the Alphonso Davies transfer saga goes, we can start really discussing whether he's worth keeping or not. But personally, I am very content with Fran Garcia in the team, at least until the end of the season. Now, Mendy was not the only Real Madrid player to sign a contract renewal over the last 10 days, because Lunin, yes, Lunin,
the love of my life,
has officially renewed his contract until 2030, and this is something that brings me a lot of joy, because with the way that Lunin performed last season, with Courtois out due to an ACL injury, I was really scared that he was going to leave and he was just going to go out and play for another big team in Europe, because he's very capable of doing so, as he showed last season. Jorge Mendes did become his agent sometime in the middle of last season, which was really scary for me because Jorge Mendes is notorious. He's notorious for whispering ideas into players' ears just so that they could force a move, as you saw with Cristiano in 2018. I will never forget Jorge Mendes for that. But I do think that Lunin went through a really rough period during the Euros because he did not have good performances. He was benched, and because of how all of that went down, I think he decided to stay, and I think it's the best thing that's happened for the club, because Lunin is going to be the best goalkeeper in the world in the future. I give Courtois maybe 2-3 more years at the highest of levels, but the fact that Lunin signed until 2030 shows that he's committed to the club for the future. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Anyways, let's talk about injuries, because this is actually pretty sad. Brahim got injured against Real Sociedad over the weekend. He's going to be out for 3 months with an abductor injury. This is a shame because at the end of the day, Brahim is a really good depth player. He is the biggest upgrade we could have ever gotten to Marco Asensio, and I was really looking forward to the type of form that he can reach towards the second half of the season. But this injury is unfortunate. He's going to be out for 3 months. It's something that we're going to have to adjust with. Injury-wise, Ceballos is going to be out for around 2 months with a sprained ankle. Now, I know that if you've seen my videos, you know that I am not the biggest Ceballos guy, but at the end of the day, he is a human being. I feel bad for the fact that he got injured, and I just wish him a speedy recovery at the end of the day. Now, on some more positive injury news, Camavinga is set to come back to training on Monday, September 23rd, which is next Monday, which is something that I'm very excited about because I gotta be honest, guys. I know that Tchouaméni was crucial last season. I know that we didn't lose a single game with him in the starting 11, but this year he's been awful. He's been so bad, and it's been really frustrating me because he looks lethargic. He just doesn't look like he wants to move or play at all. And when we signed Mbappe, a lot of people were asking, who do we sacrifice from this team? Because we just won the Champions League with this team. It's a very good lineup. I've been saying that we need to sacrifice Tchouaméni because I really do believe that Camavinga is a better CDM than Tchouaméni. I personally think that Tchouaméni's best position is at center back. The guy is impeccable. The guy is the reason why we haven't signed another center back this summer. We don't have much depth at the position. We have David Alaba, who's still recovering from his ACL injury, but we didn't sign another center back because Tchouaméni is really good at that position, and I do think that that's his best position. I'm not saying that we shouldn't ever play him at CDM, but I am saying that I'm very excited to see Camavinga back because I do think that's going to be a big boost for the team, and I do think that he is the better CDM. But then again, we have to see how Ancelotti brings him back into the team, how long it's going to take him to get up to speed. But man, I'm excited for Camavinga. But the best news that I've heard since we started this season is that Jude Bellingham is finally returning. Tchouaméni and Militao have also been training. Even though I said the things that I said about Tchouaméni, I'm excited to see him back on the field too. Now, as you guys can see on the screen, Ancelotti has been pretty clear that Bellingham is fully recovered. The only question here is whether he can hold up with the heavy schedule that we have in the next couple of weeks. We do have a lot of back-to-back games, and we have some big games coming up. We do play Atletico at the end of the month. The Madrid derby is always a tough one, especially when we play away from home, and that is exactly the case on September 29th. So so. But I know that we're all excited to see Jude Bellingham back, as you can tell over here. Nuestro capi Dani Carvajal, el Bulldog, is also excited to see him back on the field. With that being said, let me show you what I would like to see from Real Madrid in the starting lineup tomorrow. Now, as you can see in the screen here, the back four and the goalkeeper is pretty straightforward. We got Courtois, Carvajal as a right back, Militao and Rudiger as center back buddies. Mendy on the left after signing his new contract renewal until 2027. Now, the midfield, Tchouaméni and Bellingham are back. Valverde definitely on the field. The guy's been the best player Real Madrid have had this season. Honestly, we should never take that guy out. Valverde is incredible, man. I think N'Golo Kante is really the only other person that you can really compare to Valverde on a defensive level. But offensively speaking, the guy's way better than Kante. I don't know. I think Valverde is arguably the best midfielder in the world after Jude Bellingham, maybe. But now, as you can tell, my front three is a little funky, and it's because it's not a front three. I do have Rodrigo playing as the number 10 in the team. Now, Rodrigo recently had some interviews while he was with Brazil in which he kind of claimed that he wasn't really happy with the fact that he was always the guy filling in a role. They never really asked him what position he wants to play, where he should be playing. He just fills in the role that is needed. And, well, I don't think that's something that really bodes well with the club and the way that everything is run. But I do understand some of his frustration. I mean, at the end of the day, he was absolutely snubbed by the Ballon d'Or shortlist, which honestly, I'm not surprised. At the end of the day, the Ballon d'Or is arguably the most illegitimate sports award in the entire sports world, which that's something that we can definitely talk about in another video. I can rant about that all day long. But I do think that Rodrigo has all the qualities to play in the number 10 role, and I just really want to see his formation because this is the formation that we won the Champions League with last season. I do think Vini and Mbappe would play a lot better with each other if it was just them two up top. But listen, let's be real. I don't think this is ever going to happen. What I do think is going to be the starting lineup tomorrow is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much the same team that I just showed you guys, except it's going to be a front three. It's going to be the VMR. Is that what we're calling Vinicius, Mbappe, Rodrigo? I don't know, man. We really got to figure that one out. But listen, I am very excited to see what Mbappe is going to look like in his first Champions League game for Real Madrid. This is something that I've been waiting for a really long time, as many of you have. And Kylian has gotten progressively better as the season has gone on. I mean, the guy's dribbling skills are just on another level. It's just such a pleasure to be able to see him do it with the Real Madrid jersey on. I do think Vinicius has been in really poor form. He did not play well at all against Real Sociedad. He did score the penalty, even though it was tipped, and that scared the shit out of me. Listen, I would love to sit here and tell you guys that I think it's a matter of chemistry with the front three. They still have to figure it out, but I do not think that's the case because Vinicius also played very poor with Brazil. Vini's performances with Brazil were not good. He had to apologize for the recent team's performances to the Brazilian public. And I do think that they'll pick it up eventually. I do think that Vinicius will pick up his form this season, but I am a little bit worried with the way that he's been performing lately. But hey, listen, we do have a Champions League game tomorrow. When the Champions League anthem sounds at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu, every single player is just highly upgraded. And I do expect some really big performances tomorrow. I do think that Vinicius can pick it up, and I do think that this team is just going to improve and improve and improve. And we did get lucky against Real Sociedad because they hit the post 3 times. They were arguably the better team. But at the end of the day, if you want to win La Liga, you got to win the games in which you don't play well. And hey, all the controversy about the penalty taker with the 2 penalties that we scored against Real Sociedad over the weekend, that debate is dead. With that being said, it means against Stuttgart, I do think that the team is going to have the best performance of the season. I'm going to predict the 3-0 scoreline, even though German teams are really complicated to play against. But at the end of the day, this is Real Madrid. I mean, we play at home. This is the Champions League. We have such a good squad this season. I don't think that we're going to struggle. We will be going to the game, so make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss our match day vlog. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the thumbs up button. Go follow us on TikTok, on Instagram. We do have a lot of good content over there. And with that being said, it means I will catch you guys next time. Peace.